Hello everyone. I'm just going to talk a little bit today, very quickly, about thread storage because I've had a few questions about from people wanting to know where they get these little spools that I keep my thread wound round. And the answer is you don't get them anywhere, you make them. So I'll show you how to do that. The reason I like to keep my threads wound on these little tubes is firstly it's very compact, so it's very easy to keep them in a tray and sort of see fairly easily what you've got and how much of it you've got, so you can tell when they're nearly running out, for example. I do use these little cardboardy things for DMC type threads, and you can use those for any kind of thread as well. The reason I don't use these very often, I only use them for DMC threads, is because when it's running out, let me just move that, when the thread's running out and you get near to the end, you know, when you get next to the cardboard, this happens. You get very pronounced creases in the thread, which I don't like. So I prefer to keep them on rolls like this. Now you do get a different problem with, well, if you call it a problem, you get a different issue when it's on the roll, because when you get near to the end, it becomes very curly. But personally, I'd rather have it curly than creased. So when you buy a skein of thread, it will look something like this. This is one of my hand-dyed threads. This happens to be a cotton pearl 8. So the first thing you'll do when you buy it is take it out of the skein, which you do just by untwisting it. And then you will find you have, it's too big to show on the camera, but you have approximately a yard, a circular yard of cotton thread. So what we need to do first is just snip that label off. Just keep that, put that to one side because you'll be labelling your spool when it comes to it. And then find the end where it's knotted and just snip that. And then you should be able to unwind it from the skein. It's really helpful if you've got something that's about a yard round that you can wrap this round, or if you can get a helpful person to hold it like that for you while you unravel it. What you need then, let's just unroll enough just to see what we're doing. What you need then is some copy paper, and I use just offcuts. And you need about a 3-inch square, so about that much, about that size. The paper will roll more easily one way than another because paper's got a grain. This wants to roll this way, so all I'm going to do is roll that into a tube, fairly tight. You don't need to glue it, you don't need to stick it. Keep hold of it and just snip into the ends like that. Still keep hold of this and take the end of your skein and just anchor it through that little snip that you've just made, and then you can wind it onto a tube like this. And it takes a while, but it's the kind of thing you can do while you're sitting watching TV or listening to a podcast or listening to music or chatting with friends even. And if you just lay this down and just unroll a bit at a time, it should like that. It should just lie flat enough for you to unwind the whole thing. So when you get to the end, you just carry on coming back the other way. And you're literally just going to wind thread around this tube until you've either got enough on the tube or until you've got the full skein done. And by the time you've finished, it will look something like this. That's about, you get about 25 yards in a cotton pearl 8. This end, you can just tuck that into that little notch that you made here. And then if you get the label that you put to one side, you can label the other end, TC8. TC8 is just my shorthand. It's T for thread, C for cotton, and 8 for purl 8. That's how that works. Label it in whatever way makes sense to you. So there you have a very cheap, efficient and easy way to store a variety of embroidery threads.